Hello! So, I'm not gonna lie, this is a super random video. Well, the content of the video isn't super random. I have a list of videos I want to make, but making a video today, right now, is super random. I'm feeling really weird right now. Little tossed, a little jostled. I don't know, I feel like some planetary energies are shifting. Of course, we're coming out of Mercury retrograde, so that might be it. But, I don't know. I'm hungry. I wanted to make food and I feel very all over the place. So I thought I would sit down and make a video because why not? Today, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my experience with Fae energy, specifically elves. I want my channel to be a lot more open. Not that I'm not open. I'm very open. But I want to expand the topics in which I talk about. I have a lot of experience with spirit. I talk to beings all the time, cosmic beings, interdimensional beings. I have a lot of very cosmic experiences, and I'm very connected to a lot of that. And as much as that might be something that you guys may have guessed, I haven't been super open about it, and I just feel right now is the time to really step into that full truth on a lot of things. Like, I feel like right now on the planet, all of us are stepping into deeper authenticity. Not that we're not being authentic maybe in certain aspects, but it's falling away. The mask is falling away more and more, and I'm just feeling like I don't want to be doing anything else. I just want to be fully open and sharing about these experiences I've had because they're amazing. And I also want to put it out there because I know a lot of other people are experiencing them too, and I want to help shed clarity and guidance, but also just to be here to say, no, you're not the only one having these experiences. There's more and more people definitely having these experiences every day, and if we can come together and start evolving together and creating community, more and more shift can happen on the planet. I think that's going to be really magical. So I just kind of had the intuition to pull an oracle card before I get off on the elf train, or get on the elf train, rather. Yeah, how are you all doing? Comment down below if you are feeling the energy shift, if you're feeling what I'm feeling, or if anything I say in this video resonates with you. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Of course, you guys know the spiel. Unless this is the first video you've seen of me, and then welcome. Welcome to Soul Journey. I'm Rebecca, or Beck, or Becca, or someone's messaging me. We are all friends and lovely people here, and anyone who is here and posting nasty comments, I do see you. You will not, you are having an experience and you see things a certain way, and I'm honoring that experience in you, but I'm not taking it on. So anyone who comments negativity, I honor you, but I do not take on what you say. Anyway, this video is super random. Recently I've been a little more concise with my videos, and today, nope. What? Here she is. Butterfly Maiden. Transformation. Ah, what a shocker. You are experiencing enormous change right now, which brings great blessings. I don't know if you guys can see this. There's reflection usually from my open window, but it's nighttime now, so you might be able to see this clearly. Well, that feels pretty on point. Anyway, and look, Butterfly Maiden. Look, she's got wings. Right on topic. Oh! Hold on, this might actually be... I just got a message from one of my favorite people. Okay, so, hi. Oh my god. I feel like being grossly open today. And I don't mean grossly as in it's gross. I mean grossly open as just, I don't know. I'm just something That's what I feel like doing. Ah! Anyway, moving on. So today we're going to talk about the elves. And I'm feeling a little plucky today. I'm feeling a little that. I'm feeling a little that. And a little this. Ah! Hello? Moving on. So the elves. Now, I know a lot of people have had many experiences with many different types of fae. We have the fairies, we have the pixies, we have the elves, we have tons of ethereal beings. Those are just the few I can think of right now. I'm going to tell you guys straight up, a lot of what I say is either going to resonate or you're going to think I'm absolutely crazy. So from now on, expect one of those two things. Or maybe you're in the middle and you're just like, whoa, never heard this stuff before and it makes sense, and whoa. But I guess that would be resonating. So yeah, two ballparks. So I don't have an issue with you thinking I'm crazy, but I do have an issue with people being mean and spreading not loving vibes. So if you don't agree, that is totally fine. If this doesn't resonate with you, I honor that perspective and it is totally okay. I am fine with that. But it's not necessary for you to express hateful things in the comments, because we are a space of love and harmony and peace here. And honestly, if you message me and want to open up a beautiful conversation, I am more than happy to answer your questions or hear your point of view, as long as it's from a space of love. And if you're not in a loving vibe, then on your way you may go with blessings. Anyway, back to the fae. So we are getting into the real stuff here. Okay, so I'm just gonna come out and straight up say it. I have elf DNA in me. A lot of beings on this planet have a lot of different DNA from a lot of places. There's the soul stream in which you come in, which usually is from a certain place. But then our bodies have a lot of different aspects in us so that we can have the experience we want to have on this planet, and so that we have certain perceptions, or we're here to connect with certain things. So me, I have elf DNA. Now, anyone who looks at me would not be surprised by that at all. And I will tell you why I have elf DNA, or why I believe I have elf DNA. And I know this isn't something I just came to on my own. I've had a lot of other psychic people sense this in me, so this isn't super random. So I want to make that disclaimer. Not that I needed one, but just so you know. Anyway, the reason I believe I have elf DNA is because my soul stream comes from a very high dimension. In fact, it's the 11th dimension. And because in that dimension, we are very fluid, and I mean, these are 3-dimensional terms, so bear with me here, but everything is oneness, everything is light, literally. And so to be here on this planet and to have a grounded body, I also needed elf DNA within my system so that I could function here. A body that was too heavy was going to be rather claustrophobic for what I'm used to. So I chose to have a body that came in with elf DNA along with some other stuff. But elves are what we're talking about today. So to start off with, that is, that's my body. I have also had past lives in the elven world. I have had several, but there's one specifically that I had, I want to say in the past. It's not really, obviously, there's no such thing as time and space. We're all in alternate reality, so technically it's happening right now, but I sense it as being in my past, in the sense of I've experienced it already. It's not a future life. That life I was of masculine body. Of course, we were in a higher level. We were in the, ethereal realm, so I was, I had a physical body on some sense. I had, a being, but of course it wasn't necessarily third dimensional. The fae kind of come in and out of that. They're very close to the earth, but they're not necessarily in this frequency. I lived in that life for 500 years or so. I was married to actually someone who is one of my very close friends on the planet now. She was my wife for about 300 years, and we had about 16 children, and it was a beautiful life. If you want to hear more about that life, I can go into it more in depth if you guys would like. You can comment down below. But that was really special. But I have connected to the Fae and Elf energy or fairy energy since I was very little. But I was raised in a family where, even though we were into all that stuff, we were told that it was fake. We were very aware of that. It was not real. It's like, this is a story. This is what's real. We were very religious, but we liked the magic. We liked the fairy tale as long as we understood that it was fake. That was very important. Now looking back, I understand that I was drawn to these things because on a subconscious level, I was very aware how connected I was to them. Me and my brother used to joke about, oh, we're part fairy. We can, we can smell the rain. We can, we were constantly in that state. There's actually a picture that me and my brother had taken of us by my father, and there is clear as day of like a fairy in the picture. It's amazing. And at first it looks like it could be a bug, but like it's white. It's pure white, and like it was almost like a flash had gone off, but there was no flash, and it was kind of like a cloudy day. And it was big enough where there's no way that like we wouldn't have seen it. And it has like little arms and legs, and like it looks like a fairy. And we've always just been really, really connected to that. My imaginary friend, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he wasn't imaginary in that I was really experiencing an archetype, but for a long time I felt very connected to the energy of Peter Pan. And I've always just been so drawn to fairies and elves. I mean, just through the years in a very, very like intimate way. Like I just felt like I had more in common with them than people. Like it just, like I've always felt this way. And I was cast as Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I can't even tell you, I've never felt so myself in my entire life. That I didn't act one bit in that show. And I remember being on stage, and there was this point where I looked up at Oberon, and I just remember from where I was, like I couldn't see off the stage, and our set was just absolutely glorious. I mean, it looked like we were in a painting. And I looked back, and all I could see was Oberon and the forest, and I just remember almost getting choked up and being like, oh my God, this is home. And I've always felt that way. I've always felt puckish. I've always felt playful, and I really just feel like it's really a part of my essence, the ethereal. And then recently, in the last 4 or 5 years, as I've gotten more into my spirituality, stepping into my own path outside of the Christian faith, I have explored many things. I've had visions. I've talked to beings, like I said. And a part of that journey has been connecting to the Fae realm or the Elven realm. The first time I really had a legitimate connection was I had just moved out of my mom's house a few years ago. This happened a few years ago. And me and my roommate, who's also very connected to this stuff, were walking in our backwoods. And we were just walking around, and all of a sudden I was like, I feel like they're just like beings around us, like tall, ethereal beings. And she's like, yeah, no, I feel that too. And we connected to a masculine energy, and he spoke to us. It was very interesting because we had a very similar experience. Even though we weren't talking, we both kind of felt like he kind of had the same energy to us. And basically at that time we were both stepping into a space of both being in relationships. Not quite yet, but we were moving towards that. And he was there to guide us and to be a protective energy for us. And I felt it was weird because there was like twofold. Like I felt very human in that aspect. I felt like, we were in the elf realm, to honor the trees. Everything felt so alive. And but at the same time I felt this odd separation from it, in the sense of like it was unnatural, that I would actually have felt more comfortable to be on the other side of that veil. And so it was strange. I felt kind of a sadness or a disconnection from that, and being okay with the fact that I'm in a human body in this life, but feeling that longing to be home on some front. Now, I want to like have a disclaimer. My soul stream does not stem from the ethereal world. I've had lives in that world, but my soul stream actually comes from a star system. I oftentimes am a cosmic being, like star being. Star being would be a better term. But when I come to Earth, it's not often as a human. I've only had a handful of human lives. Typically, if I am going to come to Earth, if I'm going to connect to that Earth energy, I'm more likely to come down in the Elven world, because it's a more similar vibration to what I'm used to, and I actually really enjoy Earth on that frequency versus in the human frequency, which feels very dense to me. Anyway, so I've had these experiences. They're very beautiful. And then before I left for Australia, I had another experience, and this was kind of interesting. Earlier that year, my boyfriend at the time had called me Lady of Light, offhandedly, and I just kind of looked at him and I was like, that feels really weirdly comfortable. Because like people call me cutesy names, and I'm like, oh yeah, but like that felt weirdly like meaningful to me. And I later on, after we broke up, but before I went to Australia, me and another guy friend of mine were walking down to this river, and we were walking through the woods, and it was lovely. It was midsummer. And we walked down to the river, and it was lovely. And as we walked back, all of a sudden, I just felt like the woods were full. In my third eye, or intuition, I felt like all these just white beings, just like kind of in the trees, just all kind of like tall, like tall, like an elf, but all just there, just like peacefully, like walking through the woods, just very in through the trees. I mean, I felt like there was like 80, 100 of these beings, and I just kind of stopped and I was like, oh wow. And my friend Todd was like, what? And I'm like, there's so many elves in these woods. And I just kind of like stood there and I was like, I just took it in. Like, it felt so good and so comfortable. And they called me the Lady of Light. And I remember them specifically asking, when are you coming back? When are you going to rejoin us? And it felt so good. And then again, sad. Like, I remember thinking like, wow, like I miss that. I miss that energy. I miss being in that space. And so I know that when I leave this life, I will definitely again go back into that experience, because it's definitely one that I enjoy. So that was something that was really, really special, and it's really hard to explain. If you haven't had a spirit encounter, if you haven't had interactions with that, it's hard to, when I say you just know, you just feel it, it's hard to explain. Kind of like the whole idea of being in love. It's like when you're in love, you just know. It really has that same feeling to it. People who have had that experience, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You just have this awareness. It's like you just know. And it was really, really special. Another etheric elf, pixie, that's not the right word, nymph maybe, experience I had was in Australia. That was such a different experience. That was very interesting. It was actually very quick. I was actually driving in the car, and we were driving past. Now, of course, the flora and fauna is very different in Australia. It's so it would make sense that there would be different types of beings there. Like, each landmass has a different frequency. Every space has a different frequency. So it would make sense that different beings would be drawn to different places. Especially the beings of the earth. They would look different. They would feel different. So, of course, before I'd gone to Australia, I mean, I'd been through the United States a bit, but mostly when I was a bit younger and not so aware of these things. But I'd definitely not been outside of the country. So all of my experiences with the ethereal realm had been very much here in New England. So I'm in Australia, and Australia was really about my body. Like, if I was going to sum it up, it was about connecting with my body and connecting with my insecurities and working through them and really grounding into the earth. Australia is really about that, the energy there. Very sacred, very earthy. So I was really focused on that, and also connecting to my star guides and the beings I stem from. I really had it, really connected with them while I was in Australia. But I had one moment where I was driving in the car and we were going by these, like, by the bush, like it was just like a lot of nature, and the trees there are very, in this area, were very brown. Like even like the leaves, like in New England, the leaves tend to be very like forest green, and in Australia they seem to be a lighter green, like, so everything's just more sandy colored. And we're going by and all of a sudden I just get this flash, like, and this is what's interesting when I'm thinking about something, and you know when you're like coming up with something in your mind, you can feel it, there's a progression. It's like you were thinking about this and it kind of went there. When you connect to spirit, or at least when I connect to spirit, oftentimes I know it's real because I'll have been thinking about something completely different, like just so polar opposite, and all of a sudden something will flash in my mind and I'll be like, whoa, where the heck did that come from? Like, why did that just jump in my head? And but it'll be very real and it'll be like, whoa. So this is what kind of happened. I was in the car and I looked out the window and I just saw these nymphs. And I mean see in my third eye, like it was just like these images, but like in the trees, and they were these tall, thin beings. We're talking like almost like sticks, like with long arms, long legs, very pointed nose, very brown. I mean, we're talking like their waist was like this. It's like, and their fingers were very like long and thin, and their feet were pointed and tall beings. Very lanky, like sticks, but they were so reminiscent of the land of Australia. Like I just was like, whoa, those are different. And they were just very like, I don't know, they were very dry. I don't know how else to put them. And it was just for a second, but there was like a lot of them, like, and I just saw them like within the trees, and they were, you know, I would say they were probably about the height of like a human, maybe a little taller, just very thin, very stick-like, and their skin was almost like bark. Really cool. Very like big kind of slitted eyes, very pointed nose, very angular features. Very thin. I think they kind of had pointed heads a little bit, like, but thin, like back. So their faces kind of went like this a bit. Beautiful creatures, like not creepy, definitely just different than I'd ever experienced. The elves here in New England are much more like what you picture, like the Lord of the Rings elves. They're much more graceful and angelic in some ways. So these were just so different. But I was like, whoa, and it was so magical to see how different the elves and the earth beings changed because of the setting. And like I'd never thought about it until then, and I was like, whoa, that was like a whole thing. And then they kind of flitted off, or not flitted off, but we drove by and it was just this one like section. So that was pretty intense. But yeah, those are, I'm trying to think if there's been any specific other experiences I've had. I've had a lot of experiences, but I'm trying to think of with the elves. Those are the main ones. So I just wanted to kind of have a little story time. I don't know, I was just really drawn to talk about that experience or those experiences with you. If you've had any experience with Fae or elves, please comment down below. I'd love to hear your stories. Yeah, open up a conversation. I'm really fascinated to see what you guys' experiences were. So if you have any questions about anything I've talked about in this video and you'd like me to delve into like a real whole video about it, please let me know. There are several things in this video that I will delve deeper into for sure, especially like where I come from and things like that. So anyway, I know this is a bit of a different video. It's a little more, here are the things. I know I do a lot of videos that are more like, look at this, focus on that, how to feel happy. But I definitely feel like it's time to step into honoring my cosmic side and really opening up about who I am, why I'm here, and really opening up to share this information. I've been receiving and exploring all of this for really several years, like quite a few years now, and so it's now time to come out of the spirit closet and really open it up. I really want to step into this space, so I feel like it's time. Anyway, so again, all love here. Please, if you're going to comment down below, even if you disagree or you don't believe what I'm talking about, please, with love, open up a conversation. I'm more than happy to talk with you and learn about you and from you as well. So again, if you like this video, please hit the like button. It helps me out. And If you want to see more videos like this, there'll definitely be more of them. You can subscribe. Also, if you want to check out my Etsy shop, Soul Journey Magics, the link is in the description down below, along with the rest of my social media. So, hope you all have a beautiful day. Namaste. And don't forget, it's all about the soul journey.